Testing audio, testing movement. Okay, it looks like we're good. Hello everyone, this is Gundam Ace, aka John Hooper, here with my streaming of Rebellion Secret Game Second Stage. When we last left off, we met about most of the other main players. I mean, a couple of battles, but fortunately no one was severely hurt or killed. And meanwhile, back at the briefing, Shuhei and Tsukasa speculate that there may be more to their conditions, as there might be more conditions that will be added as the game goes on. But and Tsukasa offered Shuhei to join him, but Shuhei refused. And so when we ended off was with Shuhei and Kotomi going outside to meet up with the rest of the people they were going with. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, Daisuke, Hatsune, and Mariko. So that's where we'll pick up. And just 1 second. Alright, one thing I want to do first before I go into the game proper is I wanted to show off the PDA menu since I haven't done that yet. The PDA menu shows the list of the players, their player numbers, and their special functions. So as you can see, since we don't know the majority of the characters' player functions yet, their numbers or the numbers, we don't have them on here yet. We only have the ones that we've confirmed so far, which is Shuhei, Majima, and Yuna. And there we have the rules, which I went over a few episodes ago. So, yep. It should about handle it. So, 1 second. Okay. Alright, ready now. Here we go. Huh? What are Daisuke and Hatsune doing?
Huh?
Wait, what the? Shuhei and Kotomi left the central control facility, only to be greeted by a shocking sight. Do you think there's something you can do?
大丈夫大丈夫。うまくいきそうな気がしてきた。
Yeah, sure, no problem. I got a good feeling about this. Really? You think you can get it off?
大丈夫。いい感じいい感じ。
No problem. Looks like, no worries. Looks like smooth sailing from here on out. Daisuke gave half-hard reply as he fiddled with Hatsune's collar. His handiwork was clumsy as someone fumbling in the dark, and it didn't look like he'd actually found anything useful. He'd most likely found a screwdriver somewhere in the central control facility. But after all the preparation you organized to put into the whole setup, it would be utterly naive to assume that the collars can be undone by something like that.
おい、何やってるんだ?
Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?
ああ、周平か。
Huh? Oh, hey, Shuhei.
何って見りゃわかるだろ。バラしてるんだよ。
Can't you tell? I'm trying to take this thing apart.
バラすって。むやみに手を出したら危ないぞ。爆発したらどうする?
Take it apart? It's way too dangerous to just touch something like that without thinking. What if it blows up?
心配すんなって。継ぎ目を見つけたんだ。ここに何か差し込んで、てこの原理で剥がしてやれば。
Don't you worry. I found a joint here, so logically, if I jam something there, I can rip this thing off. Daisuke's clenched hand had gone completely pale from the stark strength he was putting into the screwdriver. He was using all that power to forcefully shove the screwdriver's tip into the gap in the collar. For a moment, Shuhei wondered which was stronger, Daisuke's concentrated strength or the collar bomb.
大丈夫ですか？周平がすごい目で見てるですが。
Are you sure about this? Shuhei's looking really worried over there.
なーに大丈夫だって。すぐ周平の顔を驚きに変えてやるから。
Oh, come on, it'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be seeing surprise on his face instead soon enough.
大輔、
Daisuke, you...
おお。
警告音が鳴ったです。
The alarm went off!
首輪に衝撃が加えられています。直ちに首輪から手を離してください。
Vibrations have been detected in your collar. Please let go of your collar right away.
警告を無視し続けた場合、首輪を爆破します。
Should you fail to comply, your collar will detonate. Daisuke frankly let go of Hatsune's collar and fled far away from her. At that moment, the PDA in Hatsune's pocket beeped and the alarm stopped.
初音ちゃん、大丈夫？
Are you okay, Hatsune?
はい、止まったです。
Yes, it stopped. Shuhei breathed a sigh of relief, thankful as it ended with an alarm, not an explosion. The game had been that close to claiming a victim so quickly after it had begun.
くそ。やっぱり連中にバレたか。
Ah, god damn it, so those bastards really did catch on.
バレるに決まってるだろ。何やってんだよ。
No shit they did! What the hell were you thinking?
そんなに怒んなって。できると思ったんだから試してみたっていいだろ。
Whoa, chill, man. I thought I could do it, so I decided to give it a shot, that's all.
できると思ったって根拠は？
You thought you could do it? What gave you that idea?
いや、なんとなく。隙間見つけたからここから剥がれんじゃねえかって。
Well, you know, just a hunch. I thought that maybe if I found a gap in that thing, I could use it to rip off the collar, see?
人の命がかかってるんだぞ。
Are you kidding me? You could have killed someone! Shuhei wiped the sweat off his forehead and breathed a heavy sigh. The administrator had given them a thorough explanation to the callers of the briefing just a few minutes back. Shuhei felt his heart wouldn't last a day if stupid stunts like this kept on happening.
もう少し慎重に行動してくれ。頼むから。
Just try to be more careful, please.
大丈夫だって。もう首は触んねえからさ。
No worries, I ain't gonna touch another collar again.
大輔君も反省してるし、もういいんじゃないかな、ちゅちゃ。
See, Shu? Daisuke's already learned his lesson, so can't we just let this slide? When she heard Shuhei's voice roughen with anger, Kotomi ran in between him and Daisuke and smiled.
しゅうちゃんはみんなのことが心配だったんだよね。
You worry about everyone, aren't you, Shu? Yeah. Shuhei awkwardly looked away from Kotomi. Kotomi's smile beamed wider when she saw her childhood friend calming down, and then she turned back to Daisuke.
だって大輔君、
So, Daisuke,
大輔君はしゅうちゃんの言うことちゃんと聞いてた？
you'll do what Shu asked, right?
頭を使いましょう。だろ。
You mean use your head?
命がかかってるんだから気をつけましょうだよ。
No. I mean, lives are at stake here, so be careful.
そうなのか？
That was it? Daisuke frowned, but Kotomi nodded.
一歩間違えれば初音ちゃんが死んじゃったかもしれない。だからしゅうちゃんは怒ったんだよ。
If you made one wrong move, then Hatsune could have died. That's why Shu got mad.
い出しゃばったこと言って。
I'm sorry for just butting in like that.
でもこんな状況だからみんなで仲良くやっていこうよ。
But we're in a really dangerous situation here, so we need to all work together and get along.
だよね、シュウちゃん。
Right, Shu?
ああ
Yeah.
悪いな。ちょっと言い過ぎた。
I'm sorry. May have gone a bit too far.
いや、こっちも悪かったよ。今度からはもうちょっと考えて動くわ。
Nah, I'm sorry too. I'll think more carefully next time. The two of them decided to apologize and give each other a friendly bow. With that, the core had been counterbalanced, and the relationship that threatened to reach an impasse had been temporarily reset.
よし、それじゃあ改めてキューブってやつを探しに行くか。
Okay then, now that that's settled, why don't we go and look for those cube things?
そうだね。
Yeah, sounds good.
あ、待って、その前に村の中を調べてみない？何かあるかもしれないし。
Oh, hold on. Why don't we search the village first? Might find something there.
そうだな。そこで食料が見つかれば無理にキューブを探さなくていい。
Good point. If we find any food there, we won't have to go looking for those cubes.
じゃあ村の中を探索だね。
Then let's check the village out. And with those words, the group started heading for the village. Kotomi, who was in the back behind Shuhei, snuck right next to him.
シュウちゃんも大人になったね。
You've sure grown up, huh?
ことみにはかなわないな。
Not as much as you have, though.
さっきのは事故みたいなものだよ。
That was, well, kind of like an accident.
すれ違った部分が噛み合えばみんなで仲良くできるんだから。
If we all just mesh our conflicting aspects together, we can all get along.
そうだな。ありがとう、ことみ。
Good point. Thanks, Kotomi.
私は何にもしてないよ。
I didn't do anything.
いいんだ。俺が一方的に感謝したいだけだから。
It's fine. I just felt like thanking you, that's all. Shuhei proceeded to ruffle Kotomi's hair.
子供扱いされてるみたい。私の方がシュウちゃんよりお姉さんなんだよ。
It feels like you're treating me like a kid. I am older than you, remember?
2ヶ月早く生まれただけのくせに偉そうにすんな。
Yeah, by 2 months. How does that give you the right to be all high and mighty?
でもちょっと嬉しいかも。
But you know, I think I'm a little happy.
そうか。そりゃよかった。
Really? I'm glad to hear that.
二人ともどうしたの？早く来ないと置いていくわよ。
Hey, what are you guys doing? We're gonna leave you behind if you don't hurry up.
行こう。置いていかれる。
Well, you heard her. Let's go.
だね。急がないと。
Yeah, we gotta hurry. Two friends ran after the group side by side. For a moment, Shuhei worried about Haruna. But they couldn't just stand around waiting for someone who might not come back, so after that brief period, he decided to keep his mind off her. If one were to describe the village in one phrase, the words "run down" might come to mind. The abandoned house had been withered down by time's evident passage. The wooden wallboards eroded and overgrown with plant life. However, in contrast to their appearance, the houses still retained the core of their beings. Furthermore, there was still more than enough remnants of the village's days of yore, back when people still lived there.
廃村って言っても捨てられてからまだそこまで経ってはいないみたいね。
This may be a ghost town, but it doesn't look like it's been abandoned terribly long, wouldn't you agree?
だが、正確な年月を知るのは難しいな。
The figuring out exactly how long it's been may prove difficult.
カレンダーも新聞も雑誌もない。日付のあるものは全て廃棄されている。
There's nothing with the date lying around. No calendars, newspapers, magazines, or anything.
運営の連中もこの配送が日本のどこかは特定されたくないみたいだな。
Guess the admins don't want us figuring out exactly where in Japan we are.
この様子だと食料を見つけても食べられるかどうか怪しいわね。
Judging from the way things are, I don't know if any food we find would even be edible.
缶詰の賞味期限ってどんくらいだっけ？
How long does canned food last again?
ラベルに印刷してあるんじゃないかな。
Isn't that printed on the label?
缶詰の類は表記されている賞味期限よりはるかに長く保存が効くはずだ。缶に穴でも開いてなければな。
So long as nothing pokes a hole in them, canned food can usually be preserved far longer than the printed expiration date.
初音は30年前の桃くんを食べさせられたことがあるです。でも普通に美味しかったですよ。
I once had to eat canned peaches that were over 30 years old, but they tasted just fine.
おお、だったらちょっと期待できるかもな。
Great, then maybe they'll be worth it after all.
そうね。見つかることを祈って探してみましょうか。
True. Let's look and pray we find some.
缶詰だけじゃなくて役に立ちそうなものなら何でもいいわ。
Oh, and don't just look for food. Take note of anything that looks like it can come in handy.
役に立ちそうなもの。ロープとかライターですね。
Come in handy. Like ropes and lighters, right?
あとはナタとかナイフでもいいな。
Machetes and knives will be good finds too.
とりあえずサバイバル生活に使えそうなものは何でもってことだな。
For now, guess we'll just look for anything that looks like it'll help us survive in the wild, huh?
よし。それじゃあひとまず担当場所を決めよ
Right. Okay then. Let's decide where each of us is going to look.
う。村は縦長になってるからそのまま距離で当分するか。
The village is in the shape of an oblong. So should we each search equal parts?
じゃあ遠いところが男の担当だな。
Alrighty then. Searching the faraway spots is a job for us men.
ここが村の北端だから北端が初音、次が琴美、次がマリコさん、次が大輔で最後が俺にするか。
This is the village northern end, so Hatsune, you search the north end, while Kotsumi search the next area, then Mariko, then Daisuke, and finally me. Sounds good?
この広さなら探索時間は30分くらいが妥当か。
Given the size of this place, half an hour sounds like enough time to search the village. Does that sound about right?
いいと思うわ。それで分担して探しましょう。
I'm fine with that. Let's split up and search.
みんなもいい？
Everyone else alright with that? Mariko glanced at everyone, but no one raised any objections.
それじゃあ行動開始。最終的な集合場所は村の中央広場ね。
Then let's get going. We'll rendezvous at the village's central plaza.
実際どれくらいだと思うよ。
So, how long do you think it's actually been?
何がだ？
Since what?
人がいなくなって30年とか40年とかか？
You know, since people stopped living here. 30, maybe 40 years?
中央管理施設だけ見れば間違いなく戦後ね。クーラーがついていたから。
Judging from the central control facility alone, definitely after the war. That place had an AC system, after all.
クーラーなんてあったか？
Huh? There was AC there?
外に室外機があったのよ。稼働はしてなかったから今も動くかどうかはわからないけど。
There were outdoor units at the building's exterior. It wasn't operating though, so I don't know if it still works.
へえ、みんなそういうのを結構よく見てるんだな。
Huh. You've all got a good eye for details like that.
こういう状況だしな。情報は粗末にできないだろう。
We have to, given the situation. You can't let any information go to waste.
あ、私の担当ってこの辺りかしら。
Oh, this is the area I'll be searching.
あ、それじゃあ気をつけて。
Okay, be careful then.
ねえ、そっちもよろしく。遠いところに行かせてごめんね。
Yeah, same to you. Sorry for making you go somewhere so far.
気にしないでいいよ。
No need to worry about that. Shuhei sent Mariko off with a wave. She smiled at that sight. and jogged off into a nearby house.
こうして歩いてみるとこの村って意外と広いのな。
It only hit me after all this walking, but I wasn't expecting the village to be so big.
いや、そう思えるだけだよ。歩いて10分くらいで橋にたどり着くんだから。
No, it only feels that way. It takes about 10 minutes to get from one end to the other.
まあそう考えると狭いかもな。チャリだったら5分とかかかんねえわけだし。
Oh, well, I guess it is small when you put it like that. Probably wouldn't even take 5 minutes to cover on a bike.
見た感じ、大きな施設もないしな。学校とか。
From what I can tell, this place doesn't have any large facilities. Not even like a school or anything.
そういえばそうだな。つうか学校がないってどうすんだ？隣の町まで通うとか？
Hey, good point. Wait, so if they didn't have a school, what did they do? Commute to the next town?
田舎じゃバスで2時間かけて通学なんて話も聞くけど、そういうレベルなのかもな。
I've heard stories about people out in the country having to ride a bus for 2 hours to get to school. This could very well be one of those.
完璧に人里離れてるってことか。マジでやべえな。現代の秘境じゃん。
I mean, this place is totally out in the sticks. That's not good. We're in the middle of nowhere.
つうか学校がないってことは交番とか消防署とかもなかったりするのか？
And hey, if there's no school here, does that mean they didn't have any cops or firefighters either?
どうかな。自警団のような組織があったのかもしれない。
Good question. Maybe they had vigilance committees or something like that.
へえ。ってこの辺は俺の担当だな。
Oh hey, this is my search area.
お、それじゃ頑張ってくれ。
Okay, see you later. Good luck.
見てろよ。俺が何か役に立ちそうなもの見つけてやるぜ。
Just you wait. I'm gonna find something useful for sure. Daisuke went running off into a nearby house with a confident laugh. Shuhei was now totally alone.
俺もさっさと見てもらうか。
I should get searching too. Just as Shuhei had expected, each house was filled with different tools that had long since decayed or rusted. One house had become nothing more than a nest for bugs, the tatami mats all tattered wrecks of their former glory. Yet another house was covered in rotten floorboards. When Shuhei tried to take a step in, a part of the floor gave way the moment he set his foot down. Hold on a second. Figuring houses like that wouldn't have anything useful in them, Shuhei decided to search the house that looked the least eroded. It was through that process that Shuhei came across a certain house. The house in question was fairly wide, probably the property of a well-off man. The interior was still fairly intact, so much so that it actually looked like it'd make a decent place to live. The aged building's elegance oozed out of every nook and cranny of the place, the epitome of classical Japanese architecture. Shuhei fished through the building's shelves, finding neither cans nor lighters, but rather piles of empty bottles.
何かの研究所だった。
Is this place some sort of lab? Shuhei took out the bottles one by one, and examined the medicine labels on each of them. They were all names of drugs that even someone not well versed in sciences like Shuhei knew, such as peroxide and penicillin. A lot of the bottles were still full.
研究所じゃなくて診療所だったみたいだな。
No, I guess this was a clinic instead. Shuhei now felt he understood why this particular building was so well constructed compared to the others. That aside, the place looked like it had all sorts of things that could come in handy. However, they were all bulky and heavy, so even if Shuhei took them with him, it was clear he'd have to ditch them if he ever got in a sticky situation. Guess I should just keep this place in mind then. Figuring he'd done his duty, Shuhei put the bottles back on the shelves and left the building. Oh, he's back! Hey, Shu! By the time Shuhei made back to the rendezvous point, the rest of his team was already waiting there.
何か見つかった？
Did you find anything?
取り立てで目立ったものは何も。一応診療所みたいなところを見つけた。
Nothing really worth taking, no. I did find a place that appears to have been a clinic, that said.
万が一怪我人が出ても簡単な治療をすることはできそうだ。
Looks like we can use it for simple treatment in the off chance someone gets injured.
ち成果はそんだけかよ。
So that's all, huh?
ってことは他には何も？
I take that to mean you guys didn't find anything either?
ああ、とりあえず役に立ちそうなものは見つけられなかった。しけたマッチが少しあったくらいかな。
Nope. Didn't find shit. Well, nothing besides a few matches, I guess.
古びた食器とか鍋とかはあったけど、包丁とかナイフとかの刃物類はなかったよ。
I found some old plates and pots, but no knives or anything sharp like that.
なるほど。運営が意図的に処分したっぽいな。
I see. The elements must have done a thorough job cleaning this place out then.
初音は黒電話を見つけたですが、ズーっていう音もしなかったです。
I found an old-fashioned phone, but I didn't get a dial tone out of it.
私の方でも電話は見つけたけど、電話線がつながってないみたいなの。
I found the phone too, but it looks like the lines are down. It was hard to believe that the thoroughly prepared administrators would have left behind anything that could be used to contact the outside world. It wasn't just phone lines, it was unlikely this place even had electricity.
生活の痕跡がほとんど感じられなかったから、人がいなくなってだいぶ時間が経ってるみたい。
I didn't get much of a sense that anyone's lived here recently. I guess it's been a really long time since this village was abandoned.
ちなみに他のプレイヤーとは一度も会わなかったぜ。
Oh yeah, and while we're at it, we didn't come across any other players.
まあ食料もないし、村に来る意味がないからだろうけどよ。
Well, I suppose it makes sense. Without food, there's no reason to drop on by.
こうなると説明を受けた通りキューブを探していくしかないわね。
Then we have no choice. We'll have to hunt for those cubes they mentioned at the briefing.
初音、お腹が空いたです。
I'm starving.
落ち込んでても仕方ないよね。
Come on, Hatsune, keep your chin up.
気持ちを切り替えてキューブを探しに行こうよ。
Let's cheer up and go look for those cubes.
よーし、今度こそ俺が見つけてやる。
Alrighty, I'm gonna find something for sure this time. Shuhei couldn't help but shrug at the sight of Daisuke's competitive spirit firing up. The others broke out into slight smiles when they saw Shuhei's reaction. According to the briefing, there were several cubes located in each area, but the group hadn't found any in the village they just searched. Figuring that they wouldn't locate any in civilized areas, the group determined that there was only a very small section in the current area where they'd find any cubes. The section in question was a triangular part at the base of a mountain that formed about 30% of the square-shaped area.
それじゃあここを探していきましょう。
Very well. Let's search this area.
了解だ。
Roger that.
どこにあるかわからないから各自で分担して作業しましょう。
We don't know where they are, so let's split up and each search our own zone.
でも連絡手段もないしカバーできる範囲も少ないから 遠くに行かないようにね。
But we don't have any way of contacting each other. There's not much ground we can cover here, so make sure you don't go too far.
とりあえず20メートル間隔くらいか。
Then should we search about 20 meters apart?
いや、もっといけるだろう。結構な大きさの箱みたいだし、40メートルくらいいけるって。
Nah, we can probably go farther. We're basically searching a really big box here, so let's go 40 meters.
ダメよそんなの。本当は5メートル間隔でローラー作戦をやりたいくらいなんだから。
I love the question. Honestly, were it possible, I wish we could do a roller search about 5 meters apart.
ローラー作戦ってなんだっけ？
A roller search? What's that?
全員が横一列に並んでローラーをかけるみたいにしらみつぶしに調べていくやり方だ。
That's where everyone lines up side by side and searches in a straight line, like you're pushing a lawnmower. It's a very thorough way of searching.
5人だと隙間はなくせても非効率的すぎるな。
But with only 5 of us, it'd be a rather inefficient method, even if we did it shoulder to shoulder.
だから今回は見落としがあったとしても広範囲を探した方がいいと思うの。
Which is why I think we should do something that gives us a wider search radius, even if it does increase the chances of us overlooking one.
なるほど。質より量なのですか？
I see. Quantity over quality, right?
そうそう。だから俺は量をもっと増やせばいいじゃんって提案してるわけ。
Right on. That's why I suggest something that I think would give us more quantity.
見つかる確率は質と量の掛け算よ。量を増やしても質が落ちるんじゃどのみち非効率じゃない？
The odds of us finding a cube is quality multiplied by quantity. If you increase the quantity, the quality decreases, so either way it's inefficient. Got it?
えいへい、わかったよ。じゃあ20メートルな。
Yeah, I getcha. 20 meters, right? Daisuke nodded reluctantly, and with that, the group began to search for cubes.
みんな見つかったら大声上げてね。
Shall we find anything, guys?
わかりました。あとキューブって一辺が40センチの立方体ですよね。
Got it. Oh yeah, just to make sure, cubes are square boxes with 40 centimeter long sides, right?
見逃さないようにね。また20分後に集合で。
Yeah, keep an eye out for them. We'll regroup in 20 minutes. Okay. Kotomi Fukishi replied enthusiastically to Mariko and plunged into the thicket in search of a cube.
昔はしゅうちゃんと秘密基地とか作ったんだけどな。
And to think I used to go making secret bases with Shu. When she was a kid, Kotomi used to play at her local park all the time. Now she had quite a rough time with such things due to her fear of bugs. She missed those days when she wasn't so afraid of nature. Kotomi pushed her way through the blades of grass while wiping the sweat from her forehead. Then all of a sudden...
初音ちゃん。
A spider! A spider web! I hate spiders! Kotomi hurried towards the scream, only to find Hatsune frankly wiping her hair and face. It seems she stuck her head into a spider's web. Are you okay, Hatsune? There's no spider, is there? There's no spider in my head, is there?
ちょっと待って。
Hold on.
大丈夫。もういないみたいだよ。
Nope. You're okay. Looks like it's gone. That was so scary.
初音ちゃん雲苦手なんだ。
You don't deal well with spiders, huh?
苦手だなんてそんな次元ではないのです。
It goes way beyond that.
雲は糸を出すのも足が多いのも全部嫌なのです。
Hate everything about them. How they shoot string, how they have so many legs, all of it.
また雲がいるんじゃないかと思う
And when I think of spiders on me again... As she watched Hasune cower, her eyes welling with tears, Kotomi curled her lips into a wry smile.
と。けど頑張ってキューブを見つけないとご飯食べられないよ。
But if we don't work hard in finding cubes, we won't be able to eat, you know?
それも嫌なのです。
I wouldn't want that.
だよね。じゃ、これあげる。
Right? So I'll let you have this. Kotomi broke a nearby branch lying at her feet to a reasonable length and handed it to Hatsune.
藪に入るときはこれで見えないところをかき混じればクモの巣に引っかかることもなくなると思うよ。
If you use this to poke areas you can't see when entering a thicket, you'll be able to knock away any spider webs.
はい、わかったのです。初音も頑張るのです。
Okay, I get it. I'll work hard.
私も頑張るから一緒に頑張ろうね。
Yep, me too. So let's do our best, okay? Kotomi smiled at Hatsune, now filled with renewed resolve. Finally, Kotomi whispered an apology so quiet that Hatsune couldn't hear it, and took a spider off her hat. "20 minutes later." Shuhei Fujita confirmed the results of the search with the rest of the party.
みんなどうだった？
How'd it go, guys?
見つかるのは雲ばっかりなのです。
All I found were spiders.
私も見つからなかったわ。キューブを探す作業、思ったよりきついわね。
I didn't find anything either. Looking for cubes is harder than I thought.
結構難しいかも。しゅうちゃんは？
Yeah, this could be really tricky. What about you, Shu?
いや、俺の方もダメだった。
Fortunately, I had no luck either.
ところで大輔はどうしたんだ？
Wait a minute, where's Daisuke?
そういえばいないわね。
Oh yeah, he's not here, huh?
まだ探してるのかな？
Is he still looking?
あいつのことだからキューブを見つけるまでは戻れないとか言ってそうだな。
It's just Daisuke we're talking about, so it wouldn't surprise me if he kept looking until he finds a cube.
集団行動なのに自分勝手に動き回る人ってクラスに必ず一人はいるわよね。
Sheesh. There's always one kid in every class who does their own thing even during group activities, huh? Kotomi laughed awkwardly as Mariko put her hands on her hips in an indignant pose. It would be another half hour until Daisuke regrouped with the rest of the party.
遅いじゃない。どこまで行ってたの？
You're late! Where'd you go?
いやー悪いね。あんまり見つからないもんだから夢中になってるうちに時間を忘れちまって。
Whoops, my bad. I got so caught up in looking for cubes that I completely lost track of time.
一生懸命なのはいいけど時間を守ってくれないのは困るわ。みんな心配してたのよ。
I'm glad you're taking this seriously, but it's a problem when you don't stay on time. Everyone was worried, you know? Oops.
だから悪かったって反省してますよ。この通り。
I said I was sorry already. Won't happen again, I swear. Daisuke smiled as he casually shrugged his shoulders, but Mariko heaved a deep sigh at the sight.
いい？伊藤君。今は団体行動をしてるの。
Listen up, Ito. We're working as a team right now.
みんなで決めたことを平気で破る人がいるとみんな好き勝手に動いちゃうじゃない。
If just one person casually ignores what we've all decided on, that means someone else might just start doing whatever they want too.
だから謝ってるじゃん。 どうしてもキューブを見つけたかったんだって。
Look, I apologized, okay? I just really wanted to find a cube.
キューブを見つけることも大切だけど、規律を守って行動することもそれと同じくらい大切なことでしょ。
Finding cubes is important and all, but obeying the rules is just as important, you know?
そうは言うけどよ、キューブが見つからなくっちゃ食料も手に入らないんだろ。みんなそれじゃ困るんじゃねえの？
You say that, but if we don't find any cubes, we won't be eating squat. That'd be a problem for all of us, right?
それはそれ、これはこれよ。
That's not the issue here.
きつい言い方かもしれないけど、伊藤君の勝手な行動でここにいる全員が30分も待たされてるんだから。
I know this may sound harsh, but because of your selfish actions, we're all forced to wait half an hour.
初音は待たされるのは気にならないですよ。
I didn't mind waiting. Hasune nervously looked back and forth between Mariko and Daisuke, crushed by the threatening atmosphere between them.
それでもダメ。
Still, it's not good.
へいへい、わかりました。今後は慎みますよ。
Fine, fine, I get you. I'll be more careful next time.
細かすぎだよ。
Man, so goddamn nitpicky. Daisuke grumbled, but obediently backed off. After seeing that, Mariko moved to clear the air hanging over them.
それじゃあみんな、改めて今後の行動を決めましょう。
Alright guys, we need to decide our next course of action.
まあ、そうは言ってもやることは変わらないけどね。
Well, that said, it's not like we're doing anything different.
さっきとは探索範囲をずらすんだろ。
Shifting our search area, I assume.
そうね。さっきのでカバーしきれなかったところを埋めていく感じ。
Right. Let's cover the areas we weren't able to go over last time.
さっきと同じで、見つかったら大声を上げてね。あと、今度も20分後に集合で。
Shout if you find anything, same as before. We'll regroup here in 20 minutes.
あ、了解。
Yeah, roger that.
わかりました。
Got it.
了解。さっさと始めようぜ。
Roger. Let's get the show on the road. Daisuke quickly turned around, turning his back to Mariko. He proceeded to walk off the same way he always did, disappearing into the thicket.
大丈夫かな。
I wonder if he'll be okay.
大輔くん、ちょっとイライラしてるみたいだったから。
Daisuke seemed a little irritated to me.
そうだな。だけど、マリコさんの言うことももっともだし、大輔も冷静になれば納得するんじゃないかな。
Yeah, but Mariko was right. Maybe Daisuke will get that once he calms down.
そうだといいけど。
I sure hope so.
はい、それじゃあみんなも始めましょう。
Okay then, let's get started. Shuhei resumed his search for the cubes, looking deeper towards the mountains than he did last time. He was right above the edge of the area border, but if he didn't stick here, he'd be overlapping with another area. Mariko said that he'd look around the area.
これだけ探して見つからないものなのか。
Are these cubes really that hard to find even for so much searching? The administrator said there were enough, but by this point, Shuhei was beginning to wonder if they were even real to begin with. However, he steeled his resolve to keep searching the area and began pushing his way through the grass roots. And 10 minutes later...
これか。
Is this it? He found it lying in a blanket of weeds, sitting all by its lonesome. The ink-black case, faintly shining in the sunlight, was a box with 40cm size, just as the administrator had said, and when Shuhei tried to lift it up, he found it was quite heavy. Still, he was able to carry it by the opening, and he took his time looking it over.
材質は金属なのか。
It's made of metal, I think? The cube was covered in matte coating and reflected very little light, perhaps to make it intentionally hard to find. Looking at it from the side, it made one feel like they're looking at a square then cut out of the air. If the administrator had been telling the truth, they'd find a memory chip inside.
とりあえずみんなを呼ぶか。
Guess I should call everyone over here for now.
これがキューブ？
This is a cube?
これだけ黒いと物陰にあったら見つけづらそうね。
It's really hard to spot something so black in the shadows, huh?
ああ、もしかしたらこれまでにも見落としがあったかもしれないな。
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we already overlooked several of them.
運営側がこれを配置するときにわざと見つかりにくい場所に置いたのかもしれない。
The administrators might have deliberately placed them in hard-to-find spots.
面倒なことしてくれるわね。
Talk about total pain, huh?
逆に考えれば、これからキューブを探すときは日の光が当たらなそうなところを重点的に探してみるといいかもな。
On the other hand, maybe we should focus on checking shadowy places when looking for cubes.
ええ、そうね。
Yes, that's a good point.
ところで大輔はいないのですか？
By the way, where's Daisuke?
また夢中になって探してるんじゃないか？
Maybe he's gone too caught up in searching again?
また？
Again?
真剣に探してくれるのはいいけど、もう少し決めたことを守ってくれないかしら。
It's good and all that he's taking the search seriously. I wish he'd stick to our decisions a little more closely.
まあまあ、大輔君もみんなのことを思って頑張ってるんでしょうし。
Now, I'm sure Daisuke is working so hard for all of us.
ですです。それより早くキューブを開けるです。
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's open the cube already.
そうだな。
Yeah, you're right. Shuhei rolled the black die-like cube, checking if he could find anything on one of its 6 sides. Eventually, he discovered a button on one of said sides.
押してみるよ。
Okay, I'm gonna press it. Once Mariko nodded, Shuhei pressed the button.
開いたです。
Wow, it opened! The cube's top lid opened from the inside like a mouth. The inside of the cube was just as black as the outside. It didn't look like there was much in it. Or rather, there was barely any room to put anything in. Aside from a space the size of a ring case that housed the memory chip, the inside was almost entirely filled with jet black packaging.
なんていうか、過剰包装の見本みたいだね。
Seems a little overwrapped, doesn't it?
どこぞの通販サイトの段ボール箱みたいなのです。
It's like a cardboard box from one of those mail order sites. According to the briefing, the memory chip can only be read once, and then will have served its purpose.
誰が使う？
So who's going to use it?
藤田君でいいわよ。
I'm fine with you.
じゃあやってみるか。
Okay then, here I go. Shuhei took out his PDA and turned it on. Next, he inserted the memory chip into a slot on the side of the PDA, allowing it to read the data. Afterwards, the PDA chirped, and the message appeared on screen. Whoa,
なんて書いてあるです？
what's it say?
メモリーチップが差し込まれました。地図を開いてください。
You have inserted the memory chip. Please consult your map. Kotomi, Mariko, and Hatsune all looked over Shuhei's shoulder as he clicked the map icon in his PDA.
何か光ってるわね、ここ。
Oh, something's shining right here.
あ、本当だ。
Oh, you're right. A blip about 10 meters away from the party's current location was shining on the map. It was close to the section Shuhei had just searched.
ここにご飯が埋まっているですね。行ってみるです。
There's food buried there, right? Let's check it out. Hatsune dashed off. The party followed after her towards the location of the blip and started digging where indicated. before long, they had unearthed a square aluminum can wrapped up in a vinyl bag.
やった、本当にあったです。
Yes, it really was here.
とりあえず開けてみましょう。
Let's open it and see what's inside.
あ
Yeah. They wiped the dirt off the plastic bag and took out the aluminum can. It was about 1/4 the size of an aluminum drum. With expectations of the food awaiting them, filling them up, they removed the silver lid. Huh?
たったこれだけ。
This is it?
見た感じだと一人分だね、これ。
It looks like it's only enough for one person. 5 hardtacks. Orange spread in a small squeezable tube. And 2 500 milliliter water bottles. That was everything in the can.
さすがにきついな。
It's pretty rough. Considering how long it took them just to find the memory chip, the meager amount of food they obtained didn't seem worth the effort. That said, all they could do was split it up amongst everyone.
とりあえず大輔と合流して休憩にしようか。
For now, let's just take a break after Daisuke gets back.
朝から何も食べてないし、さすがにこのまま行動を続けるのはみんなも辛いと思う。
None of us have eaten since this morning, so it'll be hard on all of us if we keep going on without food.
そうね。そうしましょう。
You're right. Let's go with that. As everyone wallowed in despondency, Shuhei focused his mind on something else. Once the other players realized how short supplies are, they'd be likely to seek to acquire as many memory chips as possible. If there were PDAs and conditions revolved around acquiring memory chips, then they'd be hunting even harder. This was almost certainly an intentional play by the administrators to psychologically corner the players and spark conflict between them. Playing this game really will be a challenge after all. At that moment, dark thoughts sprung forward from Shuei's mind. Finally, the appointed time came. The party was supposed to rendezvous and share what little rations they had. However...
まだ伊藤君は帰ってこないの？
So, Ito still isn't back yet?
近場の様子を見てきたけど、姿は見えなかったな。
I checked nearby, but I didn't see him.
もしかすると違うエリアに入ってキューブを探してるのかもしれない。
He might be looking for cubes in another area.
まあ可能性はありそうね。
Well, that's definitely possible.
彼の意見を却下したとき、拍子抜けするくらいあっさりと引き下がったし。
When I rejected his opinion, he backed off surprisingly quickly.
一人で黙って探索するつもりだったってことです？
So you think he decided to go look all on his own without telling anyone?
大輔だったらあり得る話だな。なんとしてもキューブを見つけたかったみたいだし。
Knowing Daisuke, it's definitely possible. It seemed like he really wanted to find a cube.
まあ、そのうち戻ってくると思うけど。
Well, I'm sure he'll be back sooner or later.
困ったわね。こんな時だからこそみんなで団結して事態に当たらなくてはならないのに。
This is troubling. It's times like these when we need to stick together.
マリコさん。
Mariko heaved a great sigh. Though Kotomi tried to act cheerful in an attempt to lighten the mood, Mariko and Hatsune still looked glum. The four just sat there in silence for a while, frozen by the heavy air. Hold on a second. In the end, Daisuke didn't come back for another hour.
Yo! ただいま
Hey guys, I'm back.
大輔。
おいおい、なんだよみんな。そんなテンション低い顔しちゃって。
Whoa there, what's with the faces, guys? Where's your energy?
そんなことより、見てくれよこれ。メモリーチップ。
Whatever. Anyway, look what I got here. It's a memory chip.
隣のエリアに突っ込んだけど、そっちで見つけてきたんだぜ。いやー、マジ苦労した。
I had to go to the next area, but I found one. Man, it sure wasn't easy.
大輔くん。
ん？どうしたんだよ、ことみちゃんまで。なんか暗いぜ。
Huh? You too, Kotomi? Why the long face?
伊藤君、今何時？
Ito, what time is it?
10時だろ？朝飯にはちょっと遅れちまったけど、まあ朝昼兼用ってことで我慢してくれ。食えるだけマシだろ？
10 o'clock, yeah? It's a little late for breakfast, so I guess we'll just have to settle for a brunch. But hey, there's something in nothing, yeah?
つか、マジでなんなの？なんでみんなおつやってんの？
Hey, seriously, what's up? Was there a wake or something?
本気でわからない。
Do you seriously not get it?
あー、もしかして集合に遅れたっつう話？
Is this about being late for the meetup?
そうよ。
Exactly.
おいおい、ちょっとくらい別にいいじゃんか。1時間で状況変わらねえって。
Hey now, a little late's okay, isn't it? Not like an hour's gonna change much.
それよりメモリーチップを見つけてきたんだから、そっちのがいいだろ。みんな動かなくても済むしさ。
More importantly, I found a memory chip, but what about you guys? Not that you would have had to do anything.
いいわけないでしょ。
Of course it's not okay.
おお。
Whoa.
どれだけ私たちが心配したと思ってるのよ。
Do you know how worried we were?
伊藤君一人のせいでみんなが迷惑してるのよ。それがわからないの？
You alone caused a lot of trouble for all of us. Don't you get it?
勝手に捜索の範囲を広げるし、決められた時間も守る気がない。
You expand the search area on your own, and you show no interest in being punctual.
おい、なんでそんな怒ってんだよ。そんな切れることか？
Hey, what are you getting mad for? You don't have to snap.
確かに待たせたのは悪かったけど、メモリーチップだって見つけてきたんだぜ。
Yeah, I'm sorry I kept you guys waiting, but I found a memory chip, you know?
見つからなかったらどうしたの？どうせ見つかるまで探すんでしょ？
And what if you didn't? You would have kept on looking until you found one, wouldn't you?
たまたま結果的にうまくいったからって団体行動を乱したことを正当化しないでよ。
Just because you happen to reel in some good results for once doesn't make it right to disrupt the group.
ここは私たちがいた普通の世界とは違うの。
We're not in the normal world anymore.
一歩間違えれば伊藤君の勝手な行動でみんなが危ない目に遭うかもしれないのよ。
One wrong step from you and your selfish actions could put us all in danger.
伊藤君のせいで誰かが死んでしまうかもしれないの。
Someone might die because of you. Mariko verbally lashed against Daisuke, laying out all the frustration she built up to this point. Faced with that intensity, Daisuke finally realized the situation and quickly mouthed off apologies while taking a few steps back.
わかった、悪かったって。勝手な行動して悪かった。
Okay, I get it. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone off on my own.
本当に分かってるの？ねえ。
Do you really get it? Do you?
ああ、はいはい。だから分かったって。
Yeah, already. I said I get it.
たく、そんな怒るとは思わなかったよ。たかだか遅刻くらいでよ。
Sheesh. I didn't think you'd get this mad just over being late.
たかだか遅刻？たかだか？
Just being late? Just?
なんでもねえって。そんな上げ足取らなくてもいいから。反省してるよ。
It's nothing. You don't have to nitpick everything I say and do. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Fed up with Mariko's scolding, Daisuke stepped back like he was trying to flee. He shouted out a string of apologies while holding up his hands to form a wall between him and Mariko. Sorry, I messed up. My bad. I won't do it again. I'll be more careful. In the face of those insincere apologies, Mariko frowned and sighed deeply. However, she muttered an exasperated "fine" and held out her right hand to Daisuke.
だったら PDA を出しなさい。
Then hand over your PDA.
は？
What? Daisuke's eyes widened in confusion. Mariko shook her head lightly at his reaction, as though lamenting how predictable it were.
勝手に変な行動を取らないように私が預かっておくから。
I'll hold on to it to make sure you don't go pulling any more strange stunts on your own.
は？
What?
ちょっと待てよ。なんで俺の PDA をあんたが預かるんだ？手放すなってルールだったはずだろ？
Now hold the fuck on! Why the hell do I have to give you my PDA? The rules say I can't let go of it!
でそうでもしないとまた勝手な行動を取るでしょ。それに3時間以内に一度返せば大丈夫よ。
Well, if I don't, you're just gonna act on your own again, aren't you? Besides, it'll be fine to get back to you once every 3 hours.
マリコさん、それはちょっとやりすぎじゃ。
Mariko, you're going a little too far.
琴美さんは口を挟まないで。
Not another word, Kotomi.
言ってもわからないなら従わざるを得ないようにするのは当然じゃない。
If words won't drill the message in, then it's only natural to resort to extreme measures.
いや、何様のつもりだよ、おい。
Seriously, who the hell do you think you are? At that moment, Daisuke's face started growing grim. Once he noticed that, Shuhei cut his way between the pair.
とりあえず2人とも落ち着けよ。
Guys, you both need to calm down.
藤田君、これは大事なことよ。チームを維持するためには必要なことなの。
This is important, Fujita. We need to ensure the preservation of the team.
それはわかる。だからといって無茶を強要すれば逆にチームの結束が崩れかねないだろう。
I get that, but resorting to unreasonable threats will only serve to drag the team apart, won't it?
今の俺たちにとって PDA を預けるってのは命を預けるのと同義だ。それはマリコさん、あなたもよくわかっているはずだ。
Right now, handing our PDAs over is like asking to hand our lives over. You should be fully aware of that, Mariko.
そうだ、何考えてんだよ。PDA だぞ、PDA。
He's right. What are you thinking? These are our PDAs we're talking about here.
こんな大事なもの他人に預けられるわけねえだろ。
There's no way in hell we can let someone else haul into something this important. Sorry. There's no way in hell we can let someone else haul into something this important.
逆ね。大事なものだから意味があるんじゃない。
It's the other way around. It's because it's important that it's significant.
どうでもいいものだったら稼にならないでしょ。
If it's insignificant, then it won't be a shackle, right?
だからって PDA はねえだろうが。
But still, that doesn't change a thing.
つうか何様だよ。いつからあんたが俺たちのリーダーになったんだ？
Besides, just who do you think you are? Who died and made you a leader? When she saw the angry look on Daisuke's face, Mariko took a step closer to him. Shuhei held Mariko back and turned to her.
マリコさん、俺もこのやり方はないと思う。
Mariko, I don't approve of this idea either.
この方法が一番効果的なのよ。頭のいい藤田君なら分かってくれるでしょ。
This is the most efficient way there is. Someone as smart as you surely understands that, don't you, Fujita?
ああ、わかるよ。だけど、マリコさんは大輔の命を預かるだけの覚悟はあるのか？
Of course I do. But are you prepared to take Daisuke's life into your hands? Huh?
もし大輔が命を落としたら、あなたはその責任を背負うことになるんだぞ。
If Daisuke dies, you'll bear responsibility for that. That's...
考えてみてくれ。
Think about it.
ゲームの主催者は、俺たちに宝探しのオリエンテーションや大自然のサバイバル体験をさせたいわけじゃないはずだ。
The game's organizers aren't making us do this to put us through treasure hunting orientation or wilderness survival camp.
少ない食料をめぐって奪い合いが起きるかもしれない。どちらにしろ、ゲームはこれからもっと醜くて凄惨な状況になっていく。
People might go around scrambling for the limited supplies there are. Whatever the case, the game will be headed for a crueler, more tragic stage.
このゲームには俺たちの命がかかっている。みんなにはもう一度そのことを自覚してほしいんだ。
Our lives are on the line in this game. I want all of you to keep that closely in mind again.
こうやって言い争いを続けて仲間割れなんかしてたら、それこそ連中の思うツボだろ。
If we keep arguing like this and end up having a falling out, we'll be playing right into their hands. Mariko's ferocity withered all at once, and she feebly cast her eyes down. Perhaps she'd finally calm down.
ちょっと言い過ぎたか。
I went a little too far.
分かってもらえればそれでいいよ。
As long as you get it, that's all that matters.
こっちは全然良くねえんだけど。
Really? Because I don't think that's cutting it.
大輔ももういいだろう。今回のことはお前にだって責任があるんだから。
Enough, Daisuke. You're partially to blame for this incident too. Remember that.
へいへい。
Yeah. Mariko, who rarely showed flexibility, and Daisuke, who kept taking selfish actions. Stuck in a situation where you already had too much to worry about. Knowing not to be suspicious of those two caused Shuhei to let out a sigh he didn't even notice.
じゃあとりあえずご飯にしましょうか。
Let's just eat for now, I suppose. Now that everyone had calmed down, they sat in a circle. 2 aluminum cans sat in the center. They'd used Daisuke's memory chip to unearth yet another supply can, but the contents were the same as the other.
なんか少ねえな。2つ合わせても5人分の腹を満たすには足りねえじゃん。
Damn, it really isn't all that much. Even with 2, this won't be enough to feed the 5 of us.
文句言っても増えないぞ。
Playing won't change a thing.
我慢して食べるしかないよね。
All we can do is put up with it and eat.
まあ食えるだけマシか。
Well, better something than nothing, I guess.
乾パンは1人2つで、オレンジのジャムは5分の1を目で測って使ってね。
We'll each take 2 hardtacks and use a fifth of the orange spread.
水に関してはコップがないから、このボトル4本をうまく分けるしかないかな。
We don't have any cups for the water.
きっちり5等分できるといいんだけど。
Oops, sorry. We don't have any cups for the water, so we'll just have to be careful how we split the 4 bottles. It wouldn't be perfect if we had exactly 5, though.
まあそのあたりはそれぞれ感覚でいいんじゃないですかね。
I think we can all use our own judgment on that end, can't we?
そうそう。さっきから腹も鳴ってるし、さっさと食べようぜ。
She's right. I'm starving, so let's eat already.
じゃあとりあえず食べましょうか。
Alright then, go ahead. Everyone nodded and reached out for the unsealed hardtacks. Since there was so little, the party took their time savoring each bite. During that, Daisuke, trying to draw out the process as long as possible, turned to Shuhei.
なあ周平。
Hey, Shuhei?
なんだ
What?
メモリーチップで手に入ったのってこれだけなのか？
Is this all we were able to get from the memory chips?
いや、他にはロープが入ってた。ナイフがないと切れないから使えないとは思うけどな。
No. There was also a rope in there. We don't have a knife to cut it though, so I don't think we can use it.
はあ。説明会で聞いた話だと武器が入ってるって言ってたけど、ちょっと思ってたのと違うな。
The briefing said there'd also be weapons in there, but this isn't what I was expecting.
当たり外れの問題じゃないか。
Maybe it's a hit and miss kind of thing?
武器なんて使う場面がなければいいけど。
I sure hope we don't have to use any weapons.
そうだな。だけどそればっかりは他のプレイヤー次第だな。
Yeah, but that part depends on the other players. Shuhei's clear condition was all prime number players' clear conditions are fulfilled. Put another way, to ensure he'd fulfill his condition, he had to come into contact with other players. but that didn't mean none of them would display hostility. Depending on the situation, he'd probably be forced to arm himself in order to keep himself safe.
いや、他のプレイヤーだけじゃないかもしれないぜ。
No, it might not just be them.
他に何がいるの？
Huh? There's an artifact here in play?
例えば、冬眠に入る前のクマとか、あとは野犬とか狼とか。
Well, for example, maybe there's bears that are about to hibernate, and wild dogs and wolves.
今の日本に狼はいないだろうけど、確かに野生動物も怖いな。クマなんかは地方におるんだろうけど。
I don't think there are any wolves in modern Japan, but yeah, wild animals are pretty scary. Bears differ by region, though. If a bear really did show up, not even weapons would be enough to stop it. All I could do was pray they never saw one.
モンスターだっていたりするかもです。
There might even be monsters here.
もしかしたら初音ちゃんの帽子の中にも
Like in your hat, perhaps? Huh?
手のひらくらいある巨大雲が
Like a giant spider the size of your hands.
雲だけは嫌なのです。
Not spiders. Anything but spiders.
おいおい、冗談でもかわいそうだ。本気で泣きそうになってるぞ。
Whoa there, that was a cruel joke. I think she's gonna cry for real.
初音たち本当に帰れるですかね。
You think we can really make it back home?
もちろん。そのためにみんなで頑張ってゲームをクリアしようよ。
Yeah, of course we can. That's why we're all doing our best to clear this game.
まあ、飯を食ったらその辺もおいおい考えていこうぜ。
Well, let's think hard about that stuff once we're done eating. Once he was done, he handed the little... Oh, sorry. Just then, Daisuke tossed the last piece of his hardtack in his mouth and drank from the water bottle. Then he handed the little he still had left over to Hatsune.
はい、初音ちゃん。余ったからこれ飲んじゃいなよ。
Here you go, Hatsune. There's still some left, so you can have it.
ありがとうです。
Thank you. Hatsune took the water bottle and drank slowly, reluctant to drink up what little was left. But at that moment...
あ、ちょっと
Hey, hold on.
ん？
Hmm?
水が余ったならみんなで公平に分けないと。
If you've got water left over, then you have to share it equally with everyone.
は？
What?
チームで行動してるんだから水の一滴でもみんなで分けるべきよ。
We're working as a team here, so we have to share every last drop of water together.
マジで言ってる？なあ、それマジで言ってる？
You shitting me? Are you really being serious here?
何よ。
What about it?
あれっぽっちの量どうやって分けるっつんだよ。しかもコップも何もなしでだぞ。
How the hell are we supposed to split such little water? Besides, we only have cups, right?
蓋をして持ち歩けばいいじゃない。水が必要な時に使ってもいいし、次の食料を見つけた時に分けてもいいし。
Shut the cap and carry it around. Then we can take a sip when we need it, and we can split it up the next time we find supplies.
だったら別に今飲んでもいいじゃねえかよ。
There's no real problem drinking it now, is there?
一人で飲んだから言ってるんじゃない。
You say that, you're the one who drank it all by himself.
初音が飲んじゃったから悪いですか？
What's it wrong for me to drink from it?
大丈夫だよ、初音ちゃん。悪いのはあいつの頭だから。
No, definitely not, Hatsune. The only thing that's wrong here is her head.
なんですって。
What was that?
なんでもねえよ。もういい、初音ちゃん。あっち行こうぜ。
Nothing. Screw this. Hatsune, let's go over there.
ちょっとどこに行くのよ。また勝手にどこか行くつもり？
Hey, where are you going? Are you planning to go off somewhere on your own again?
別にどこにも行かねえよ。ここにいたくねえだけだっつーの。
I ain't going anywhere. I just don't want to be here, that's all.
声の届く範囲にいりゃいいんだろ。 なんなら PDA も渡してやろうか。
I always have to be close enough so you can hear me, right? Or do I need to hand over my PDA for that too?
いらないわよ。きちんと守れるなら。
That won't be necessary if you stick to your word.
行こうぜ、初音ちゃん。
Let's go, Hatsune.
なのです。
Okay. Daisuke took Hatsune's hand and left the circle. Kotomi and Mariko watched them go, the former looking uneasy and the latter looking stern. All that was left were the empty aluminum cans and water bottles.
ねえ、藤田君、琴美さん。私、間違ってると思う？
Say, Fujita, Kotomi, do you think I'm wrong?
正しい答えが常に選ぶべき回答かどうかって聞かれたら、それは難しいな。
It's hard to say if the correct choice is always the right one to pick.
正義を貫こうとすれば情は通らず、情だけで世界は回らない。
You can't bring emotion to the execution of justice, and the world doesn't run on sentiment alone.
マリコさんの言ったことが間違っているわけじゃないけど、初音を気遣った大輔の行為を責めることもできないよ。
What you said wasn't wrong, but I can't blame Daisuke for being considerate of Hatsune either.
私はみんなに喧嘩をしてほしくないです。
I don't want everyone to fight.
そう、
I see.
難しいわね。
It sure is tricky. Uttering that of a faint voice, Mariko turned toward the forest where Daisuke and Hatsune had faded to. But even after they started searching for memory chips again, the gulf between Mariko and Daisuke hadn't been filled. For the time being, they were walking together in a line, but they hadn't looked at each other for a while. Mariko stubbornly marched at the head of the line, while Daisuke trudged in the back next to Hatsune. This team might not last long. Shuhei walked in the middle of the line as he thought that. Just then, Kotomi, walking next to him, chimed in as if she caught on to his thoughts.
なんだか雰囲気良くないね。
We don't have a very good vibe running, do we?
そうだな。
Yeah. But for now, all he could do was walk between Mariko and Daisuke to keep them from butting heads again. Realizing this was a golden opportunity, Shuhei called out to his childhood friend.
琴美、
Yeah?
そろそろ PDA の情報を交換しておかないか。
Don't you think it's about time we exchange PDA information?
そうだね。
Oh, yes, you're right. Kotomi accepted Shuhei's proposal without a moment's hesitation. Nodding, Shuhei took out his PDA and showed it to Kotomi.
これが俺のプレイヤー情報だ。
Here's my player information. Though the players were supposed to keep their cards, that is, their PDA information, close to the vest, Kotomi was an exception for Shuhei. To him, keeping himself and Kotomi alive would always take priority over helping out these strangers they just met at the briefing. In fact, he'd wanted to speak to Kotomi earlier, but there was no way he could openly exchange information right in front of other players. Shuhei had been waiting for an opportunity where he'd speak to her all alone.
プレイヤーナンバーが4。クリア条件は素数ナンバーのプレイヤー全員のクリア条件を満たす。
Player number 4, clear condition. All prime numbered players' clear conditions are fulfilled.
素数ナンバーのプレイヤーってことは235ジャックキングの6人だね。
There are 6 prime numbered players, the 2, 3, 5, 7, Jack, and King, right?
そうだ。見ての通り、なかなか厄介な条件だよ。
Yeah. As you can see, my condition's quite a handful. Shuhei operated the PDA from the side, changing to another screen.
特殊機能は半径10メートル以内にある PDA の特殊機能を無効化するか。
Your special function is nullify the special functions of all PDAs within a 10-meter range, huh?
有効活用するなら他のプレイヤーの特殊機能を知ってることが前提になるのかな。
So to get good use out of it, you need to know the other player's special functions, I guess?
ああ、そうだな。
Yeah, that's right.
でもちょっとホッとしたよ。私のクリア条件とは競合してないみたい。
But that's a relief. Looks like our conditions are compatible.
見て。
Take a look. Kotomi operated PDA and showed it to Shuhei.
プレイヤーナンバー6。クリア条件は自分を中心とした5つ並びのナンバーの他プレイヤーに危害を加えない。
Player number 6. Clear condition. Do not harm other players within 2 numbers more or less than your own.
自分を含んだ並び数字だから、プレイヤーナンバー4から8までのプレイヤーを傷つけなければいいってことか。
So by within 2 numbers, that means you're not allowed to hurt players 4 through 8, right?
危害を加えなければいいってだけの条件は当たりだよね。
It's perfect. All I have to do is not hurt anyone.
そうだな。実質何もせずに最終日まで生き残ればいいだけだ。
That's right. So basically, you just have to survive until the last day without doing anything. But would the game's organizers really give such a simplistic condition? If their condition was not to harm other players, then logically, that meant they could expect a situation where they'd have to harm others. So if the 4, 5, 7 already attacked Kotomi, then she couldn't fight back, not even self-defense.
コトミ、お前は何があっても俺のそばから離れるな。
Kotomi, no matter what happens, stick with me.
そのつもりだけど、どうして？
Yep, that was my plan all along. But why?
もしも何かあった時は、俺が必ずお前を守ってやるから。
So I can keep you safe if something bad happens. Huh?
それって。
So that means...
どうした？
What's wrong?
いや、なんでもないよ。
Nope, nothing. Nothing at all.
大丈夫か？何か不安なことがあれば早めに言っておいた方がいいぞ。
You okay? If someone's worrying you, I think it'd be better to say it sooner.
本当に大丈夫。しゅうちゃんと私は兄弟みたいなものだし、妄想が爆発っていうか、ちょっと混乱してただけ。
No, seriously, it's fine. But like a bird to me, so my imagination just exploded and I got a little confused, that's all.
そうだ、特殊機能の話しよう。
Oh, right, my special function.
ああ。
Okay.
私の特殊機能、すごく便利だから、しゅうちゃんの力になれると思うんだ。
My special function is really handy. I think it'll be a big help to you. Kotomi smiled widely in joy as Shuhei, filling with curiosity and expectation, looked at her PDA screen. His eyes widened at what he saw.
半径10メートル以内にいるプレイヤーのナンバー、クリア条件を表示する？
Display the player number and clear conditions of a player within 10 meters?
これなら、しゅうちゃんのクリアに役立つでしょ。
See? Want to help you with clearing your condition?
役に立つどころの話じゃないな。俺にとっては最高の特殊機能だぞ。
It's way beyond help. This is the best special function I could hope for. If that functioned, Shuhei could obtain the information he wanted, player numbers and clear conditions, both at once. It was so perfect that Shuhei wouldn't need anything else.
これって誰にも気づかれずに情報を抜き出したりできるの？
Can you do it without attracting the attention of the others?
どうだろう。まだ一回も試してなかったから。
I don't know. I haven't tried it out yet.
ちょっと使ってみるけどいいよ。
Let's give it a test, okay? Sure. After Kotomi gave an approving nod, Shuhei took her PDA and started pressing buttons. Just then, though, he noticed something odd about the device itself.
なんだこれ？
What's this?
どうしたの？
Huh? What's what?
いやほら、電源ランプの横の部分に巻き取り式のコネクタケーブルがついてるだろ。
It's just, there's this wind-up connector cable thing next to the power light.
そうだけど、しゅうちゃんの PDU にはついてないの？
Yeah, that's right. Do you not have one of those, Shuhei?
ああ。でも妙だな。確か説明会では全員に同じ PDA が配られてるって言ってたはずだ。
Yeah. But isn't it strange? It said at the briefing that everyone's PDAs were identical, right?
もしかして特殊機能で使うのかな？
Maybe it's for my special function?
いや、半径10メートル以内にいるプレイヤーのナンバー、クリア条件を表示するを見る限り、そんな感じはしないんだが。
No, it says that it displays the player numbers and clear conditions within 10 meters, so I don't think that's it.
とにかく一度使ってみるな。
Anyway, I'm gonna try it out, okay? Okay. When he pressed the button, Shuhei found no instructions relating to the connector popping up, just as he'd suspected. Though he still had questions, he decided to shelve them for the time being and continued operating the PDA. Right then, the screen changed. Though the rest of the team was nearby, it didn't seem like their information had been displayed before. A list of all the players within 10 meters popped up. It seemed it was designed so that the user selected the player they wanted to learn more about.
それじゃ、対象を俺にして。
Okay, let's try it on me.
実行。
And here we go.
出てきた。
Oh, it showed up. Right after tapping his own name, Shuhei's data appeared on Kotomi's PDA. However, Shuhei's PDA showed absolutely no signs that its data had been stolen. In other words, it was possible to steal Taru's information from right under their noses.
琴美、大輔や初音、マリコさんの情報を見れるか？
Kotomi, can we take a look at Daisuke, Hatsune, and Mariko's information?
でもいいのかな？
Is that really okay? Kotomi probably felt guilty about stealing her own teammates' information. Shuhei gave her a firm nod, urging her on. Kotomi reluctantly started operating her PDA. Daisuke Ito, player number 10. Clear condition. Encounter 10 or more players. Hasune Atoda, player number Queen. Clear condition. All players survive. Mariko Ueno, player number Ace. Clear condition. Don't spend more than 3 hours separated from your designated partner.
全員の条件が競合していない。だけど、素数のナンバーは誰もいないか。
There's 5 of us, yet no prime numbers. That's unfortunate.
5人もいるのに素数は0。ついてないね。
まあいいさ。素数以外はかなり潰してるし、これから会うプレイヤーのほとんどが素数だってわかるなら悪くはない。
It's fine. At least we know who most of the non-prime numbers are. And this means that most of the other players we run into will be prime, so it's good. But Shuhei was more concerned about the clear conditions than the player numbers. Daisuke and Mariko's weren't anything particularly special. Daisuke just had to meet at least 4 more players to fulfill his condition, and Mariko would be fine as long as she didn't go off on her own. In contrast, Hasune's clear condition, which called for the survival of all players, was the only difficult one. If even one of the 14 players died, she'd be unable to clear the game. But what was more concerning wasn't the difficulty of her condition, but the fact that it called for all the players to survive. Meaning that at the current stage of the game, none of the players had any incompatible conditions. It's just finally starting to feel real. It was likely the game's organizers didn't desire an outcome where everyone survived. In that case, the current situation would definitely change at some point. It would become a beast much harder and crueler. Could Kozumi's connector scale be for that time? All of a sudden, Shuhei's thoughts were disrupted by a voice.
Yo, Shuhei. どうしたんだ? そんな難しい顔をしてさ。
Hey Shuhei, what's up? What's with the serious face? Shuhei turned around to find Daisuke and Hatsune. He gave them a vague answer, not wanting to let his thoughts on.
いや、ちょっとゲームのルールに関する話をな。
Nothing, just think about the game's rules.
それよりそっちの方こそどうしたんだ?
Anyway, what about you guys? Something up?
ああ、実は初音ちゃんといろいろ話し合ったんだけど、ちょっと二人に提案があってさ。
Yeah, see, me and Hatsune were talking, and we've got a little idea we want to share with you and Kotomi.
提案
An idea?
ですです。
Uh-huh.
プレイヤーナンバーやクリア条件は内緒にしても、特殊機能だったら教え合ってもいいかもと思ったです。
Our player numbers and clear conditions stay secret, but everything can be okay for us to share our special functions.
ほら、もしかしたらキューブの場所を探す機能なんかもあるかもしれないし、そしたら意固地になって隠してても無駄だろ?
See, one of us might have a function that'll make it easier to find cubes, so in that case, there'd be no need to keep it a secret.
周平と琴美はどう思うですか?
What do you and Kotomi think?
それはどうかな。ねえ、しゅうちゃん。
I'm not really sure. Right, Shu? Kotomi, hesitating to answer, turned to Shuhei. After thinking it over for a bit, Shuhei gave an approving nod.
まあ、確かにそれほど影響はないかもな。
True, I guess it won't really affect things all that much. In reality, Shuhei didn't feel that way at all. However, the only thing Kotomi's PDA didn't show were players' special functions. Thus, Shuhei felt this was the perfect time to learn Daisuke and Hatsune's.
説明会では特殊機能について仰々しいこと言ってたが、俺と琴美の特殊機能は全然大したものじゃなかったよ。
They made a big deal of it out of the special functions at the briefing, but me and Kotomi's are nothing to write home about at all.
だよな。俺の特殊機能も意味わかんねえし。
I know, right? I don't even get my special function.
どんな特殊機能だったんだ?
What is it?
どんなのだと思う? 当ててみろよ。
What do you think? Try and figure it out.
ヒントもなしだとさすがにな。想像もつかない。
I can't begin to guess without any hints.
そりゃそうか。正解はこれだよ。
Yeah, I guess you got a point. Here's the answer. With that, Daisuke held out his PDA so the others could see it. The following sentence was displayed on the screen. When a player dies within 1 meter of this PDA, all player callers, with the exception of this PDA's player, within 5 meters will detonate.
なるほどな。確かに役に立たない能力だ。
I see. It doesn't sound like a particularly useful ability.
だろ？誰かが死んだ時に周りにいる奴ら全員が吹っ飛ぶってわけだ。怖え能力だけど全く使い道がわかんねえぞ。
Seriously. It means if someone dies, everyone else around me blows up. It's a scary ability, but I can't see where it'd ever come in handy.
ま、大輔が死にそうになったら全力で逃げることにするよ。
Well, at least you know to run for the hills if it looks like you're gonna die.
おいおい、ひでえな。助けろよ。俺たち仲間だろ。
Hey now, that was rude. We're teammates, right? Then help me. As he joked around, Shuhei contemplated the true value of Daisuke's special function. He couldn't tell if Daisuke hadn't realized or was just pretending he hadn't. Whatever the case, the attendant's special function was superb. It meant that if Daisuke died, anyone within 5 meters would die too. Oops. In other words, they couldn't fight him from close range. Simply telling others about it would serve as a shield for its owner. That was the special function's true worth.
ちなみに、初音ちゃんの特殊機能は俺よりよっぽど使えそうだったぜ。
Incidentally, Hatsune's special function is way more useful.
はいです。初音の特殊機能は半径20メートル以内に他の PDA が接近すると警告をするなのですよ。
Yeah, my special function is release a warning when another PDA comes within 20 meters.
へえ、索敵用のレーダーみたいなもんだな。
Huh. So it's like an enemy radar, huh?
ですです。誰かが近づくと教えてくれるのです。
Uh-huh. That lets me know when someone's coming towards me.
こんな風に。
Like this. Just then, Hatsune activated her special function.
これって俺たちに反応してるんだよな。俺たちは除外しないと意味ないんじゃないのか。
It's reacting to us, right? Doesn't that make it pointless if we can't ignore us? If we can't make it ignore us?
特定のプレイヤーを除外するかどうかも選択できるですよ。会ったことのある人しかダメみたいなのですけど。
You can choose which players to ignore. Though it looks like it only works on people you've actually met.
人探しするのに役立ちそうだね。
Sounds handy when you're looking for others.
怖い人から逃げるのにも便利なのです。
Or running away from scary people.
それで、周平はどんな能力だったんだ？
So what's your function, Shuhei?
まあ、俺の特殊機能も微妙だったよ。
It's kind of weird, honestly.
どんな機能だよ。ヒント、ヒント。
What's it like? Come on, give us some hints. Daisuke leaned forward with a curious smile.
ヒントか。
A hint, huh?
そうだな。健康器具かな。
Okay. A health device.
は？
Huh?
健康的なのです。
So it's related to health?
あ、
Yes. Shuhei gave a daring smirk to Daisuke and Hatsune, who began guessing his special function without a doubt. Konami shot Shuhei a disapproving glare, but Shuhei knew he had to come up with a consistent lie for them all here. It would unnerve them if they all knew he had such a powerful special function like disable special functions. Unlike Daisuke's function, there's no defensive benefit to revealing his own.
あ、答えはなんだ？
Well, think you figured it out?
健康に。あだーくそ全然わかんねえよ。
Health. Health. Ah, damn it, I got no clue.
じゃあ体温を測る機能とか
Okay, thermometer?
わかりました。薬草辞典なのです。
I know. It's a plant dictionary.
残念。2人とも外れだ。
Sorry, you're both wrong.
俺の特殊機能は今まで歩いた歩数をカウントする機能だ。
My special function counts all the steps I've taken so far.
つまり万歩計だな。
So, pedometer, basically. After Shuhei spoke that lie of a self-satisfied look on his face, Daisuke was rendered at a complete loss for words. Hatsune was the same, but she also threw an pitying look at Shuhei.
2人ともそんな目で見るの悲しくなるだろ。
Hey, come on guys, don't look at me like that. You're making me sad.
だって万歩計ってそんなの特殊機能でも何でもねえだろ。
That's a pedometer. How can you even call that a special function?
優勝様レベルなのです。
I just feel sorry for you.
一応俺にとっては大事な機能なんだけどな。
Oh, but it is quite important for me.
は？大事って何に使うんだよそんなの。
Huh? What makes something like that important?
そいつは想像にお任せするよ。
I'll leave that to your imagination.
ははわかったぞ。
Now I get it.
周平のクリア条件は歩数に関わることだな。
Your clear condition has something to do with steps, doesn't it?
そこは黙秘権を行使するよ。
I exercise my right to remain silent. Shuhei smirked, which Daisuke returned in kind but satisfied smile.
まあ俺のより琴美の特殊機能はそれなりに使えると思う。
Well, I think Kotomi's special function is more useful than mine in its own way.
お、どうなんだよ。
Oh, what is it?
10メートル以内にいるプレイヤーの名前を表示する。初音の特殊機能の範囲が狭い版みたいな感じだな。
Shows the name of all players within 10 meters. It's like a more limited version of Hatsune's.
でも名前がわかるなら初音のより良さそうなのです。
Well, if it shows their names, it sounds better than mine.
いや、そうとも言えないと思うけど。
No, not necessarily.
どういうことなのです？
What do you mean?
名前が分かっていいことがあるかって言ったら別にそんなことはないだろう。
Just knowing a player's name doesn't mean all that much.
このゲームではプレイヤーを識別する場合ナンバーの方が重要な情報だからな。
When it comes to identifying players in this game, the numbers are more valuable information.
なるほどなのです。
Oh, I get it now.
でも油断してはいけないのです。名前を打ち込めば首輪を爆発させられる PDA があるかもしれないのです。
But you can't be careless. There might be a PDA that can blow up callers just by typing their names in.
なんかどっかで聞いたことのあるような機能だな。
Just by writing their names? That sounds familiar.
確かにそんな特殊機能があったら危険だけど俺たちとっくに本名で自己紹介してるぞ。
A special function like that would definitely be dangerous. We've already told each other our real names, didn't we?
なんと油断していたのは初音の方だったのです。
Oh no! I was the one who was careless. Everyone smiled at Hatsune's overreaction. Had they not met in a place like this, they all could have been good friends. When he thought that, Shuhei felt a prick of guilt at how horribly pathetic he was for being the only one to lie. At that moment, Hatsune called out to Mariko, who had stopped to watch the four of them since a while back.
ところでマリコの特殊機能は何なのですか？
By the way, what's your special function, Mariko?
私
Huh? Me?
その私のはちょっと
Mine is... When he saw Mariko stumbling over her words, Daisuke seized the chance to raise his voice and shrug his shoulders heavily.
教えてくんねえの？みんなの話聞いてたんだろ？
You're not gonna tell us? You heard what we said, right?
そんなこと言ったって
Yes, but that's not...
なんだよおい、みんなの情報は聞いてたのにあんただけは隠すのかよ。
What the hell? Everyone shared their information, you're gonna be the only one to clam up?
でも
But...
まさかマジで一人だけだんまりするつもりかよなあ。
Not seriously saying you're planning to keep quiet after all that, are you?
大輔くん、その無理に聞き出そうとしなくてもいいんじゃないかな。
Daisuke, you don't have to force her to tell us if she doesn't want to.
みんなで特殊機能の情報を教え合おうって決めたわけじゃないんだし。
It isn't like we all decide to share our special functions.
まあそうだけどさ、でも場の空気ってもんがあるだろ。
Well, yeah, you're right, but sometimes you just gotta go with the flow, you know?
なあマリコさん。
Isn't that right, Mariko?
それはそっちが勝手に喋ってたんじゃない？
That's... You guys just started talking on your own.
なんだよおい、マジでさ。ああ、ここに空気読めない人がいるんですけど。
The hell? You shitting me? Well, looky here, we got someone who can't even get a hint.
こんな人にチームの結束だの協調性だの言われたくねえよな。
I don't want to hear that from someone who nags on and on about the spirit of teamwork and cooperation. Mariko grimaced at Daisuke's relentless assault. But in the end, she said nothing, turned her back on the others, and started walking off.
おうおう、今度は逃げるのかよ。
Oh, so now you're running away, huh? Mariko showed no signs of biting at Daisuke's goading. For someone as strong-willed as her to refuse even after all this urging meant that Mariko's function was likely one that would pose a problem if found out. Shuhei raised his guard with that thought when...
ねえ、しゅうちゃん、
Hey, Shu.
このままじゃマリコさんが孤立しちゃうよ。
If this keeps up, Mariko's gonna end up all alone.
そうだな。だけど今の俺たちには何もできないよ。
Yeah. There's nothing we can do about it now.
冷たい言い方かもしれないけど、ここでチームが解散しても俺と琴美のクリアには影響しない。
This may be a harsh way of putting it, but even if the team breaks up, it won't affect our clear conditions at all.
大輔と初音のクリア条件は無視して問題ないから、マリコさんが単独行動にならないようにだけ注意していよう。
We can just ignore Daisuke and Hatsune's conditions, but we need to be careful to ensure Mariko doesn't end up going at it alone. As a member of the team, Shuhei didn't want them to break up right here and now, but from the perspective of a player, it wouldn't influence his condition the slightest.
らしくないよ。
This isn't like you. Kodomi?
なんだかしゅうちゃんがしゅうちゃんじゃないみたい。
You don't sound like the Shu I know.
ごめん、私すごく自分勝手なこと言ってる。
Sorry. That was a really selfish thing to say, I know.
ちょっと頭冷やしてくるね。
I'm gonna go cool my head, okay? Shuhei watched Kodomi silently turn her back on him, but couldn't find anything to say. The inevitable breakup happened rather anticlimactically. Daisuke and Hatsune suddenly announced they were leaving the team.
残念だな。
That's a shame.
俺もそう思ってるさ。でももう無理だ。
I agree, but I can't go on like this. Daisuke glared at Mariko as if to send her a clear message. But Mariko didn't even try to retort.
初音ちゃんもこれでいいの？
Hatsune, are you sure you're okay with this?
そりゃあ
Well,
なんだよ、周平も琴美ちゃんも。そんな新規臭い面すんなって。別に敵になるわけじゃねえんだからさ。
oh come on, don't give me those gloomy faces, you guys. It's not like we're gonna be enemies now.
ですです。 別にこれでお別れではないのです。
Right. This isn't goodbye or anything.
そうなの？
Oh, really?
俺らのことは別行動してるって思ってくれりゃいいよ。これまで通り協力し合ってゲームのクリアを目指していこうぜ。
We're just gonna take a different path, that's all. We'll still be working together to clear the game.
大輔くん。
だからそんなテンション下げんなって。
Look, don't get so down.
とりあえずそうだな。
For now... Oh, I know.
夜になったら村の中央広場で合流しようぜ。これなら心配ねえだろ。
Let's meet up in the village's central plaza tonight. That should put you at ease, yeah?
食料が足りなかったらお互いに助け合えるし、何かゲームに進展があったら情報交換もできるしな。
If you don't have enough supplies, we'll share ours. And if anything new happens to the game, we can exchange information.
そうだな。わかった。
Sounds good. Got it.
気をつけてね、二人とも。
Be careful, guys.
はいです。こっちはこっちで頑張りますです。
Yep, we'll do our best too.
そんじゃ達者でな。
Later. Stay safe. The pair waved goodbye and disappeared into the forest.
行っちゃったね。
They're gone, huh?
あ
Yeah.
私が悪かったのね。
This is my fault, isn't it? Mariko sighed quietly as she watched Daisuke and Hatsune leave. Even when they split up, she and Daisuke hadn't even tried to look each other in the eye.
たまたま大輔とは相性が悪かっただけだ。そんなに落ち込まなくてもいいんじゃないか。
You and Daisuke just happen to be on opposite wavelengths, that's all. You don't have to get depressed about it.
だけど私がもっとみんなに合わせてれば。
Well, if I tried to be more accommodating... Mariko hung her head as she wallowed in regret. She wrapped her trembling arms around herself, bit her nails, and stood firmly rooted, like she were trying to hold something back.
マリコさんは自分のどこが悪かったと思っているんですか？
Mariko, where do you think you went wrong? Huh?
今回はどうしようもなかったかもしれない。
This breakup might have been inevitable.
けどこれから会う人となら今回の反省を生かしてうまくやっていけるんじゃないですか？
But if you reflect on this time, then the next time we meet someone, you can use this experience as a base to do better, right?
マリコさんにはそれができるはずです。
I know you can do it.
だってマリコさんが大輔くんに厳しかったのは彼のことが心配だったからですよね。
After all, you were harsh on Daisuke because you were worried about him, weren't you? Mariko was sent still and surprised by Kotomi's words. But soon enough, she gave a weak yet firm nod.
そうね。
You're right.
頑張ってみるわ。
I'll give this a shot.
私にもできることがあれば協力しますから。
Good. If there's anything I can do, I'll help out the best I can.
ありがと
Thank you.
う。さあ、気持ちを切り替えて、これからの方針を決めていきましょう。
Okay then. Let's move on and try to figure out what to do next.
はい。
Okay.
ああ、了解だ。
Yeah, got it.
とりあえず、各自のクリア条件を整理してみない？
First, why don't we discuss our clear conditions?
クリア条件？
Our clear conditions?
ええ。私たちはメモリーチップを集めるだけじゃなくて、クリアを目指して行動しなくてはならない。
Yes. We need to work together not only to get our memory chips, but also to clear the game.
そのために、お互いの目的を共有しておいた方がいいと思ったの。もちろん共有するつもりはないけど、どうかしら。
That's why I think it'd be best to share our conditions. I don't intend to force you, of course, but what do you think?
意外だな。マリコさんからその提案が出てくるとは思わなかった。
I'm surprised. I never thought you'd propose something like that.
それはイエスと受け取っていいのかしら。
Should I take that as a yes? Shuhei and Kotomi already knew Mariko's clear condition. Since hers didn't clash with their own, they weren't the least bit opposed to being completely cooperative with her.
ああ、琴美も構わないよな。
Yeah. You don't mind either, do you, Kotomi?
うん、もちろんだよ。
No, of course not. Shuhei and Kotomi showed Mariko their PDAs, displaying their clear conditions and player numbers. Once she saw them, Mariko heaved a sigh of relief.
よかったわ。どれも平和的に解決できそうな条件ばかりね。
Thank goodness. Looks like we can reach a peaceful resolution of these conditions. Mariko then showed her PDA screen to Shuhei and Kotomi. Her player number was Ace. Don't spend more than 3 hours separated from your designated partner. He'd already known it, but Shuhei made a relieved smile and nodded, not letting a thing slip.
マリコさんがこの条件なら、俺たちはこのまま行動して問題なさそうだな。
With a condition like that, we shouldn't have any trouble continuing to work together.
うん、そうだね。
Yeah, that's right.
じゃあお互いのクリア条件も分かったことだし、
Okay. Now that we know our clear conditions,
私と琴美さんは放っておいてもクリアできるから、藤田君の目的のために行動していきましょうか。
me and Kotomi can win without doing anything, so we work on fulfilling Fujia's condition.
できるだけ早いうちに多くのプレイヤーに会っておきたいわね。
We want to meet many players as soon as possible, right?
ああ、そうしてもらえると助かるよ。
Yeah, it'd be a big help.
だけど今日はもう遅いし、夜の森を歩くのは避けたいから、このまま南下しましょう。
But it's getting late, and I want to avoid going through the forest at night, so let's head south.
地図上だと平地があるから、他のプレイヤーとキューブを探しながら村の方に戻って一泊する予定でどうかしら。
The map shows a plain there, so let's head back toward the village while looking for players and cubes, then spend the night there. How's that sound?
ああ、異論はない。
I have no objections. Sounds good.
わかりました。
Got it. Mariko's instructions were quite clear. Perhaps Daisuke's absence had calmed her down. The team of three immediately moved to get down the mountain before the sun set. After about an hour later of trekking through the forest, Shuhei's PDA suddenly started beeping.
なんだ
What's that?
しゅうちゃん、どうかしたの？
Something wrong, Shu?
いや、いきなり PDA が鳴り出して。
No, my PDA just suddenly started beeping.
またゲームの主催者からの連絡かな。
Is it another message from the game's organizers?
いいえ、それはないと思うわ。私たちの PDA は反応していないもの。
No, I don't think so. Our PDAs aren't reacting at all.
本当だ。なんでしゅうちゃんの PDA だけ鳴ってるんだろう。
Oh, you're right. Then why is only Shu's PDA beeping? Shuhei took his PDA out of his pocket and checked the menu screen. A letter mark was displaying to the bottom right of the flag icon, indicating a received message.
だが、どうして俺にだけ
An email? Why only me?
お前が個人にメールを送る状況なんてありえんのか
Would the administrators have any reason to send a personal message? Shuhei opened the email.
なんだこれ
What's this supposed to be?
何が書いてあったの？
Huh? What's it about?
いや、それが
Well, it
あ
says...
なたの身に危険が迫っています。その方角には進まないでくださいって。
Danger is close at hand. Please do not head in that direction. By direction, it was probably referring to the southern area the team was headed for. But even if that were true, how did the sender manage to send an email to Shuhei? From what Shuhei could tell, the PDAs didn't have that ability, and hadn't been mentioned at all during the briefing. so we'd assume that only the administrators can send emails, and the players can only receive them.
どうする？この先には進まないでほしいみたいだけど。
What should we do? Doesn't sound like they want us to keep going this way.
得体が知れないメールを信用しろって言われてもね。
I don't know why they expect us to trust such a fishy message.
善意からの警告ならこの先は危険ってことだけど、藤田君はメールをくれた人に心当たりはある？
If they're sincere, then there's danger up ahead. Do you have any idea who could have sent this, Fujita?
心当たりがないことはないが、それにしては不自然だな。
I have my suspicions, but if I'm right, it doesn't make any sense. The first people that came to Shuhei's mind when he thought potential allies were Daisuke and Hatsune, but their special functions didn't allow him to send emails. The only other conceivable possibilities were Tsukasa or Haruna. It was possible that one of them had a special function to send emails. But if that were true, it didn't make sense why they'd hide their identity.
もしこれが私たちの知らない第三者からのメールであったとすれば、
If it was sent by some third party we don't know of,
この方角に進まないでほしい理由があるってことね。
then they must not want us going this way for some reason, right?
何かが隠してあるとかですか？
You think they're hiding something?
そういうこと。相手にとって都合が悪いってことよ。
Exactly. Something that wouldn't be good for us.
このメールの文面からは判断しづらいですね。せめてもう少し具体的な理由が書いてあればいいんですけど。
It's hard to tell from the email itself, though. If only they'd given us a more specific reason.
ただ、今から進路を変えたら、山道の途中で日が暮れてしまうな。
I'm sorry, 1 second. But if we change our route now, we'll still be on the mountain roads when the sun goes down.
暗い森の中で一夜を過ごすのはお世辞にも安全とは言い難いわね。
It's hard to call spending a night in the dark woods safe, even as a compliment.
それじゃあ万が一に備えて周囲に気を払いながらこのまま進むってことでどうかしら。
Alright then, how about we keep going this way while keeping a closer eye on our surroundings, just to be careful?
あ、わかった。
Yeah, sounds good.
了解です。
Roger. Once they made it out of the woods, the group found a wheat field awaiting them. The large grains of wheat swayed like ties in the gentle afternoon breeze. The sound of ears of wheat rubbing against one another were like waves washing up on shore, giving the image of a twilit sea.
すごく綺麗。
Wow, it's so pretty.
こんな景色、初めて見たな。
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this.
こんな状況じゃなければ素直に感動できるのにね。
If we weren't in this situation, I think the sight would have really moved me.
そうね。それだけはちょっと残念ね。
You're right about that. It's a real shame, isn't it?
ねえ、しゅうちゃん、マリコさんも。私たちはこの景色をいい思い出にしないといけないんだよね。
Hey, Shu, Mariko. We need to turn this sight into a good memory, don't we? Huh?
何事もなくみんなが無事に帰った後でこの景色を思い出せるようにしないといけないんだよね。
Once we all get home safely, we need to remember this sight in a positive light, right?
おでくじか。
Once we get home safely, huh?
確かに。それができれば最高だな。
You're right. It'd be great if we could do that.
え
Agreed.
え、そのためにもできる限りを尽くして頑張りましょう。
So we need to try our hardest to make that a reality. The group exchanged glances into the mad red sky and nodded. to turn this memory into a good one. If that was what Komi wanted, they wanted to do his best to make it happen. With that thought, Shuhei smiled at his teammates.
さて、麦畑を踏み荒らすのは気が引けるけど、一応キューブを探していくか。
Okay guys, I know you'll probably feel awkward about trampling through the wheat field, but there might be a cube hidden there.
そうね。最初のキューブを見つけた時みたいに3人で範囲を決めてやりましょう。
You're right. Let's decide on what sections to search, like when we found the first cube. Okay.
身長の高い麦だから人を呼ぶ時は手を挙げて呼んでね。
The wheat is really high, so raise your hand to call the rest of us over, okay?
了解だ。
Roger that. After deciding on a meeting time and place, the three split up to investigate the arranged sections of the wheat field. And then they began looking for their next cube. But soon after...
ちょっとみんなこっちに来て。
You guys, come check this out! Shuhei ran over to Mariko. Komi arrived not too long after.
マリコさん、どうした？
What's up, Mariko?
何かあったんですか？
Did something happen?
これが落ちていたの。
I found this lying on the ground. With a grim expression, Mariko showed what was in her hands. Though it was a little dirty, the object's shape was intact. A shape the team had become familiar with rather recently.
PDA ですね。
That's a PDA, isn't it?
ええ。
Yes.
私たちのと同じものみたいですね。それ。
Looks just like ours, doesn't it? It was hard to tell if it was the same model, but the position of the buttons and screen were exactly the same as the team's.
他のプレイヤーが落としたのかな？
You think another player dropped it here?
バッテリーが切れていて電源が入らないからプレイヤーナンバーは確認できないわ。
I couldn't turn it on because it's out of battery, so we can't check the player number.
電池を交換してもダメでしょうか？
Couldn't we swap the batteries out?
工具がなきゃ無理ね。
I can't do that without any tools.
それにずいぶん長い間放置されていたみたいだし完全に壊れてしまっていると思うわ。
Besides, looks like it's been abandoned for a very long time. I think it's completely broken.
でもまだゲームが始まって1日目ですよ。雨も降っていないのにどうしてこんなボロボロに？
But it hasn't even been a day since the game started, right? It hasn't rained or anything, so how did it get so beat up?
多分だけど、前にこのゲームに参加したプレイヤーが所有していたものじゃないか。
If I had to guess, it probably belonged to a player from a previous game.
可能性は高いわね。今回が何度目かは知らないけどこのゲームが何度も行われてきたのは確実だし。
That's very possible, yes. I don't know how many, but it's a fact this game's been played played multiple times.
じゃあ前にこの場所で誰かが。
So that means in the past, at this very spot, someone... Probably. The owner of the PDA had likely died there. The body had been collected afterwards, but the PDA had been lost in the wheat field, left abandoned the entire time. That was the most likely scenario.
そんな一人をそんなの。
That's just horrible. Komi was probably thinking of the player who died. Her shoulders shuddered as she cried. And just then, something passed right by Shuhei's eyes.
なんだ？
What was that? Huh?
何？どうしたの？
What? What's going on?
いや、今確かに何かが飛んできたんだけど。
I'm pretty sure I just saw something fly by. Bugs and small birds were flying around the wheat field. Considering the time of day, it wouldn't have been surprising if Shuhei had just mistaken the object for one of those. Something was different about this. Danger is close at hand. Please do not head in that direction. The words of the warning email flashed in Shuhei's mind. Cold sweat dripped down his spine. Just as he tried to warn his companions, a black arrow struck the ground at Mariko's feet. Huh? What's happening?
くそ2人とも伏せろ
Damn it. Get down, guys. Shuhei dragged his stunned companions into the wheat field before they had time to answer. Fujita, what was that? Sniper attack. A sniper? You're kidding, right? Believe me, I wish I was. Let's take a look at this. Shuhei reached out and pulled the arrow out of the ground. With its carbon-like make and 50 centimeters or so of length, it would only be a standard arrow. Considering the kind of bows suited for sniping, they're likely up against a crossbow. This can't be! We haven't even done anything to them, right?
何度も撃って襲撃してくるからね相手に聞いてみなきゃわからないさ
We won't know what they're after unless we question them.
大方それがクリア条件に関わってくるプレイヤーがいるんだろう
Probably has something to do with their clear condition, though. But if we get hit with an arrow like that, we'll be lucky to get away from it with a mere injury. They're not trying to kill us, are they?
とりあえずここに留まるのはまずい
I don't know. But it's too dangerous to stay here.
麦穂に隠れて移動しようなんとか相手を振り切らないと
Let's hide in the wheat and move. We have to find a way to shake off our attacker. Move? But where?
どこでもいい早く
It doesn't matter. Just hurry. It doesn't matter? But... It took about 20 seconds after the arrival of the first arrow for another one to come flying at the group. If they were up against a crossbow, that meant their assailant took that long to reload and fire another arrow. Which meant that the next arrow would... The next arrow landed a meteor away from Kotomi. Judging from the angle it pierced, the shooter was located somewhere diagonally to the north. Shuhei immediately checked that direction, but saw no hide nor hair of their assailant. He had no idea what the crossbow's effective range was, but the sniper was hiding while firing at them, finding them would be next to impossible.
2人とも俺についてこい絶対に麦穂より上に顔を出すな
Follow me, guys. Keep your heads under the wheat field. If they bent down and kept themselves hidden in the tall stalks of wheat, they'd be safe from detection. But their opponent likely knew that. If they chose to close the distance, then the group, with no means of fighting back, had no chance of victory. They need to get out of there as soon as possible.
次の射撃まで時間があるはずだ行くぞ
There should be a bit of time until the next attack. Let's go. Wait, Shu! Mariko's... What? Shuhei turned around to find Mariko curled up into a ball on the ground, holding her head, with Kotomi trying to get her on her feet. I can't! If I get hit by an arrow like that... I don't want to die in a place like this! Someone save me! Please!
マリコさんしっかりしてください。
Mariko! Mariko! Hang in there! No! No! Shit! Mariko had flown into absolute panic. One day, she'd been living a normal life, and the next, she suddenly found her life in danger. What's more, that danger came in the clearly visible form of a crossbow. Her reaction wasn't unreasonable. But now wasn't the time to deliberate on such matters. If they didn't hurry, the next arrow would... Third arrow grazed Mariko's hand. Thin trickles of blood streaked down. It hurts!
マリコさん早くここから逃げないと。
Mariko, we have to get out of here now! Shoo, Mariko's...
分かってるからちょっと待ってくれ。
I know. I'll be right there. Shuhei understood Mariko's shock so well it hurt. But at this rate, you need to find a new way to get out of there.
しかも街から
Damn it. No choice, I'm gonna take a gamble. The arrows came in 20-second intervals, one at a time. Didn't seem like their assailant was using any other long-range weaponry aside from the crossbow.
やるさ。
Then I'll do it. Shuhei's lips curled into a smile of false bravado. There's only one way out of this. To approach the assailant in between the arrows and engage in hand-to-hand combat. But what if their opponent had a close-range weapon? Shuhei hesitated, I thought, when...
は
What the? For some reason, Mariko stood up, breaking out of the cover of the wheat. Her deranged eyes were brimming with tears, and she made a flattering smile as she shouted into the woods. Stop it! Please stop! Please! We have no intention of hurting you!
マリコさんダメです。座って。
Mariko, no! Get down! Kogami clung to Mariko. But Mariko shook her off and continued pleading for her life. I don't know what you're after, but we'll give you anything you want. Anything! So please stop shooting at us! I'm begging you!
マリコさん早くシャッター。
Mariko, we have to hide in the wheat!
くそ何を考えてるんだ。
Damn it, what the hell is she thinking? Their assailant would have just used that time to load their next arrow. Knowing the next attack would come at any second, Shuhei ran towards Mariko, resolved to beat her down into the cover of the wheat if he had to. And just then... Mariko, look out!
コトミやめろ。
Kotomi, don't! Kotomi emerged from the sea of wheat and pushed Mariko aside. Fresh blood scatters as a carbon arrow plunged into Kotomi's body. Kotomi fell from the impact, but Shuhei caught her just in time. No, it can't be. Kotomi? This was supposed to happen.
琴美琴美
I'm okay. It's just a scratch.
バカ大丈夫なわけがないだろう
You dumbass. Like hell you're okay. Kotomi was trying hard to hide her wounds, but Shuhei pried her hands off and took a look. She'd been hit in the lower right leg. Fortunately, the arrow just grazed her, but gouged out 10 centimeters of flesh with it, leaving a river of blood behind. Shuhei had been planning to take the fight to their assailants, but with Kotomi unable to run away on her own, he knew he had no choice but to take his teammates and run, dangerous as it might be.
走れそうか急いでこの場を離れるぞ
Think you can run? We have to get out of here quickly.
でも待ってマリコさんは
Yeah. Oh, but we need to get Mariko.
マリコさんも早く
Mariko, hurry. Let's go.
ごめんなさい
I'm so sorry.
ごめんなさいごめんなさいごめんなさい
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
血が出て私のせいで琴美さんが
You're bleeding so much. It's my fault you got hurt.
ダメよ逃げきれっこないわ私たちはここで
I can't. We'll never get away from them. We'll die right here.
いい加減にしろ
Snap out of it! A dry sound resounded through the field. Shuhei slapped Mariko across the cheek.
そんなに死にたいならそこでいつまでも泣きわめいていればいい
If you want to die so bad, they can stay there and keep on crying.
だって俺と琴美はあんたに付き合って死んでやるほどお人よしじゃない
But Kotomi and I aren't soft enough to stick around and die along with you.
私置いていかないで
No! Don't leave me!
置いていかれたくないなら自分の足で立って走るんだできるな
If you don't want to get left behind, you get up on your feet and run. You can do that, right? Yes!
次の射撃がつけたら行くぞ
Good. Make our move once the next arrow comes. Shuhei lent Kotomi his shoulder and forced Mariko down. Just then, a black arrow flew right over their heads, cutting through the air.
行くぞ走れ
Now, run! Shuhei pushed Mariko's shoulder with that command. And then the three of them blindly charged through the wheat in unison. Okay, so we're gonna leave it off right here. So yeah, a lot of interpersonal team conflicts this time, and then the breakdown at the end. They got a tough time coming now too, with Kotomi injured and Mariko having a mental breakdown. So we'll just have to see how they get through that next time. I'm probably gonna stream tomorrow. I'm deciding if I can do it around 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, so I'll just notify later on Twitter. So keep an eye out for me there. Until next time, I'll see you all later.